Okay, hey, good afternoon. I'm about to head out, so I'll make this pretty quick. But I've had something on my mind for the better part of an hour that I wanted to share. I was just gonna send it as text, but I've been spending so much that I wanted to really boost this in particular. 102 years ago, on the 18th of September, 1918, the labor leader and socialist activist Eugene Debs was on trial. He'd been put on trial on charges of sedition against the United States of America because during the First World War, he was campaigning quite actively against for the resistance against the draft. He was a huge advocate of non-intervention and pacifism, amongst many, many other things. Now, on the last day of his trial, before he was sentenced to prison for 10 years and politically disenfranchised for life, he has a very well remembered statement that he made. I'll read it here for you. Your Honor, years ago I recognized my kinship with all living beings, and I made up my mind that I was not one bit better than the meanest on earth. I said then, as I say now, that while there is a lower class, I am in it. While there is a criminal element, I am of it. And while there is a soul in prison, I am not free. I've been hard pressed to find a better summation of what solidarity means than what Eugene gave voice to on that fall afternoon. So, in that spirit, I'm heading out again today. Probably not all night, probably just for a few hours, hand out umbrellas and supplies, and who knows. I'm exhausted. And if you've been conscious this week, I'm sure that you're exhausted too, even if you haven't been marching, even if you haven't been donating, even if you haven't been agitating. I'm sure you're tired. But I want to remind you that the fact of the matter is, we can't let that fatigue set in. We can't close our eyes, turn off social media, and just wait for this to blow over. If you're white like me, yeah, you absolutely can do that. You have the privilege to do that. Don't fucking do it. Don't. People are dying. And if we let today, if we let this week, if we let this month, if we let this year be like the days and weeks and months before, if we protest for a week or 2 weeks and nothing changes, is that a future you want to live for? Is that a life that you're comfortable in living? Is that a legacy that you can hold in your heart with any sort of pride, thinking decades from now, telling the next generation what it is you did when things seem to be getting as tyrannical as they could ever be in this country? That, oh yeah, I signed a few petitions and it kind of fizzled out in a week. I can't live with that. For me, personally, that's unacceptable. I have donated thousands of dollars this week, and I don't really have a steady source of income outside of unemployment. I'm not trying to shame people who have more of an income than me, but actually, yeah, what the fuck are you doing? I'm sorry. I I don't want to be calling people out. I don't want to be abrasive about this, but these are people's lives, and not just a few lives. If you've been paying attention, police brutality in the United States has been shamelessly on display this last week. Police have been instigating riots in every major city across the United States. There have been more protests and more riots in more cities than there were after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. There have been more people protesting than did in the summer of '67, or did after MLK was assassinated. There have been more arrests If you want to look back at the civil rights movement as a moment in history when things changed, as a big moment, like the March on Washington, no, this is the big moment. This is. That was fine. It made good steps in the right direction, but it didn't solve things. We have momentum now. We have numbers now, with so many people out of work, with so many people desperate. We have access to a massive potential movement in terms of labor, in terms of manpower, in terms of energy. And I implore you, if all you've been doing is sitting and going, yeah, things are really bad right now, but, I can't. Fuck that. You can. You should. If you have any moral or ethical core to your being, recognize that people are putting their lives on the line right now. Dozens of people have died this week at the hands of the police. And if all you're doing is retweeting or sharing or posting, it's not enough. It's absolutely not enough. And I do not relish giving voice this kind of discordant, uncomfortable conversation. Because I don't want to make you uncomfortable. I don't want to shame you. I don't want to give you guilt. I know a lot of people have extenuating circumstances in their lives that makes participating difficult. If you live with someone who's at risk of infection, if you yourself are at risk of infection, if you don't have that much money, if you don't have that much time. Keep in mind that the 40-hour work week has been in place for this long, not because it's necessary or economically efficient. Efficiency actually tops somewhere around 24 to 30 hours per week. It's to keep you busy. It's to keep you docile. It's to keep you tired. It's to keep you from participating in meaningful, direct action. If you're tired, be fucking mad about it. If you are barely paying your bills, be fucking mad about it. It doesn't cost a dime to protest. It doesn't cost a fucking dime to march. You know all this. You do. I'm not telling you anything you don't know. And if my constant agitation over this last week hasn't been enough to move you, I really don't know what will be enough. If seeing people lose eyes, suffocate, be blinded, time and time and time again is not enough for you, I don't know what is. Get involved. Be vocal about it. Fucking agitate your friends and families and... I'll shut up now. Until later. Doodaloo.